Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the fourth in our series of weekly seminars on entrepreneurship in Asian high-tech industries. And I'm happy to see that already joining us, in addition to students in the course who are taking this for credit at Stanford, I recognize some people from our member companies in the East Asia Technology Management Center. I recognize someone from the Consulate General of Japan in San Francisco. And I recognize old friends from around the world and a few new friends, hopefully. So we want to welcome you to our session today, which is about entrepreneurship after exit, especially in regard to the takeover bid by NTT Data for Netyear Group. And our speaker, I'm delighted to welcome, is Ms. Fujiyo Ishiguro, who is the CEO of Netyear Group. Fujiyo graduated from Nagoya University in the School of Economics, and she got her MBA from Stanford University. She started out working at Brother Industries in overseas marketing and Swarovski, Japan, as a manager in charge of new businesses. And then she founded a high-tech specialty consulting firm in Silicon Valley that advised companies ranging from Yahoo and Netscape to Sony and Panasonic on topics such as US-Japan alliances and also technology transfer. Then in 1999, Fujiyo participated in a management buyout of Netyear Group and assumed her current position as CEO from the year 2000. Netyear Group went public in the year 2008. In 2019, NTT Data, which is really the biggest systems integrator in Japan, completed a takeover buyout of Netyear Group, which gave them controlling interest, but kept Netyear Group as a public company in Japan. So in addition to that side of her activities, Fujiyo is also an advisor to government groups in Japan, such as the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industries Industry Structure Council, and also the Strategic Headquarters for the Promotion of Advanced Information and Telecommunications Network Society under the Cabinet Office of Japan, and also the Future to Choose Committee under the Cabinet Office. So we're delighted that Fujiyo, you could find some time this morning in Tokyo to come and speak with us. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you,
Richard, for introduction. So really thank you for having me. I'm going to present today as entrepreneurship after exit. So let me share my slide first. Yeah, I'm going to present entrepreneurship after exit. Exit means, so usually exit has two meanings, one IPO and one M&A. We actually experienced both. And first of all, I'm going to give you some snapshot for two things. One is a brief history of Netyear Group, and as well as two types of exit, comparison of two types of exit. One is the M&A and IPO, both country, US and Japan, so that you can have a sort of background of my session today. Let me start from a history of Netyear. That 1997, we started the Netyear Group in the United States as a child company of joint venture with GE and Dentsu. The following year, founder, CEO at the time want to make the company to be independent company and asked me to, join the, their management buyout. And I participated with my partner. At that time, I had my small consulting company, consulting, high-tech consulting, both startup in US as well as a big corporation to, in Japan. Then The following year, 1999, we transferred the headquarters to Japan. And a lot of things happened as a usual startup. In 2008, we went to IPO in Japan. And about 10 years after, Entity Data, the biggest system integrator in Japan, best system integrator in Japan, want to take over Netyear as a public company, and they did. Actually, the reason why Entity Data want to take over us is, so actually, I am the one to approach them. We need to change the company. And the contract is pretty unique. Even, Entity Data made a TOB. We keep the status of public company. That was our contract. So the next slide is a comparison of IPO and M&A in United States. As you see, so exit of the startup, left side of chart shows M&A is much, much larger than IPO, number of exit. Amount of finance in the, on the right side as well, M&A is much larger than IPO. However, if you see in Japan and US market in a comparison, Japan is left side for each year, US is right side. As you see, Japan IPO is much larger in each year. So what it means is M&A is not really popular. Startup do not choose the M&A exit, and also venture capital do not choose as well. And also, I guess, it shows if you see the only green, bar, number of the exit of IPO in Japan is almost all the time, Japan is larger than US. What I mean is for the Japanese stock market, it is much easier to go to IPO. Sometimes, 10 million sales, US dollar sales company go to IPO if they have a good profit margin. So then let's go into today's content. In an introduction, it is my personal story and what the Netyear group is, and the history toward IPO, and after IPO, what's going to happen, and then why Entity Data take over us, and after TOB, post-merger integration, PMI, how it is done. So introduction. As Richard introduced me, I graduated in 1994, long time ago. I graduated from Stanford, having an MBA with my 4-year-old son. And this guy became 22 years old. He also graduated from Stanford, computer science undergrad. I raised him to be a geek. He is now a completely geek. We are Stanford family. Going back to my graduation at Netyear University, that was a long time ago. This picture is a placement office. This is a picture of placement office. All the job posting says male only. I even did not go to placement office because, 4 years college student, female student, all the big corporations shut down the admission for employment. So that's why when I graduated from Nagoya University, my wish was I want to work for a big corporation, because all my, the friends at Nagoya University, next to me, they really enjoy the, employment opportunity. They get any job from any company, manufacturer, consumer goods, finance, social, whatever it is. However, nothing for female students. That's why I want to work for a big corporation. However, this guy completely changed my mindset. After I graduated, I just want to be an entrepreneur. So that was my my personal story. Then what is Netyear? What we do is digital marketing, complete solution for digital marketing. We cover all the customer touch point. Digital marketing is pretty complicated. We have done advertising. We do web integration. We do, social media marketing. We do application development. Digitized store, call center. We provide a complete solution for digital marketing, basically to a big corporation. We have over 250 company client. As a client, most of them are equivalent of Fortune 500 companies in Japan. So that is Netyear. This is a history toward IPO. As I said, we started up the business in US in 1997. We completed the MBO in 1998. We transferred the headquarters to Japan. In 2000 April, we got a quite large VC investment, about 30 million US dollars. This is quite large as a Japan startup. Usually statistics show that the amount of VC investment in US is 40 times as much as Japan. So that's why 30 million US dollar investment to a startup in Japan is quite large at the time. And our business model was quite simple, just web marketing. That was a time before digital marketing started. Web marketing means very simple. We provide, web integration. We have a great UX, UI designer. We have, information architect. We provide a SEO, a little bit digital ad and email system and EC. That's it. Web marketing was pretty simple. And then in 2008, we went to IPO. As you see, the center of the picture, Netyear group was there because it was demand was so high. First day, we cannot get any price because demand is much higher than, Then, however, something happened after IPO. The top chart shows our sales, both consolidated sales as well as Netyear itself. You will see it is not really bad, but it's not great. Right after 2008, Lehman shock hit our industry. So we have not doing well in 2009. We generate loss. After that, 2014, we got a really big client, 7&I Holdings, having a 7-Eleven, department store, Ito-Yokado, biggest supermarket. We got a big project. That's why in 2014, the performance was pretty good. However, after that, a lot of things happened. We have had a hard time. So in order to request a demand from market, we have added a lot of service portfolio. We started web integration. We added the mobile development. We added SNS marketing. We added CRM and SFA and web and mobile integration. We provide omni-channel. We started big data analysis. We started marketing automation. Finally backend integration. In order to add, this type of service portfolio, we made a lot of corporate action. In 2008, we acquired, the social media marketing company. We acquired, mobile development company. in 2011, Salesforce invested to Netyear. You see the small picture. I'm shaking a hand with Mark Benioff. We are even acquire a productivity company in order to go up our sales. Finally, in 2019, NTT Data made a TOB to Netyear. I'm going to show the reason of what is changing, what was changed after IPO. One, market changed from web marketing to digital marketing. As I showed before, the same slide, web marketing is pretty simple. Web integration, SEO, email, EC, almost, that's it. However, digital marketing is more complicated, more service. SNS marketing, web and application, digitized store, advertising, we need to cover all the touch point, digital touch point. In the back end, we need to do a lot of data analysis, putting a DMP and marketing automation. Things are very complicated. Things become really difficult, complicated, difficult, and large project. That's give us a hard time. And the second reason is competition become harsh because digital marketing is a very attractive market. So that's why, big guys from incumbent industry, big players come into this market, from mass marketing agency, come into this market, so two big guys, Dentsu and Hakodo, the agency come into a digital marketing. Also worldwide IT consulting company like an Accenture, PwC, KPMG, even a BCG come into this market. And also the other industry, big SIer, system integrator, like an IBM in Japan, NRI, also NTT Data, want to come into this market. So that's why we are independent company. However, competition become really, really harsh. This shows world market trend in world market. Like Netyear, web integration company or web marketing company, even before our IPO, some of them are bankrupt or some of them are acquired by big agency. I don't know you remember March 1st, IXL, Scient, Laserfish, Sapient. That was a big name at the time. Some of them are bankrupt. Some of them made a Chapter 11. Some of them acquired by big agency. Also, platformer get into this market by acquiring these players. You may be surprised. This is a chart of sales of digital art. This is completely one of the big digital marketing service. Nowadays, Accenture is top, IBM second, Deloitte is third. So they create, for example, Accenture create Accenture Interactive, and other people Dentsu Digital. They come into the market. They are now the top player for digital marketing. So this is something we need to deal with. All the technology, DMP, data analysis, things become really difficult. We are doing, but we need more help from big corporation. So the reason why NTT Data take over us is this is something I have been considering to achieve by having someone's help. Basically, I had an approach to including NTT Data, some big system integrator, what we can do together. One is technology reason. nowadays front-end technology like Netyear is now should be integrated with back-end technology. UX and implementation need to be integrated. And secondly, the market reason. We are in an industry of completely red ocean. So many small companies. As I said, in Japan, 10 million sales company can go to IPO. Some company having just one solution of marketing, digital marketing, could go to IPO, but still they are small. But red ocean industry player cannot really enjoy the profit. Best industry is oligopoly. Maybe 2 or 3 players in industry, a player can enjoy profitability. So that was a market reason. The third reason is the customer reason. Because digital marketing is so complicated, so many services, not, even the best customer, having a knowledge of digital marketing, they cannot deal with all the service. Service has to be integrated. Service has to be from complexity to simple. That's why I thought integration is absolutely necessary in this industry. So that is the outside M&A. This is the chaos map. You can see in any industry, but especially in digital marketing, 2 chaos. So that's why I put the Netyear as an ideal position. I just divided the 4 media in digital marketing, paid media, earned media, SNS, digital front-end solution, Netyear as a net. I just divided for industry. Netyear is positioning in the lower left side. However, still so many players. With integration, I want to make a big 3. I named it. Accenture already, 2 years before NTT Data's TOB, Accenture acquired our biggest competitor, IMJ. That was really shock news in the industry. So then I approached to NTT Data to, made us, to take over. So another player is Dentsu Digital. They are also acquiring some of the players. So this big 3, if we can make the oligopoly market, we can enjoy the profitability. That was my my thought. Again, digital marketing is so complicated. That's why customer needs some help. One company provide a simple, complete solution. Customer would be happy. That was 3 market reason, customer reason. So that's why I asked the NTT to take over us as a public company. As I said, I'm the one to approach to NTT Data. So NTT Data actually was really happy to accept us, promise to do IPO. They put on 100% premium on the market price. So that was a really good deal for shareholders. So this is a PMI, so we set, short-term goal and mid-term goal, long-term goal in 2019 at the time of TOB. During the due diligence, NTT Data found, good part of Netyear, a bad part of Netyear. They found we need more engineering resource. We need more PMO. We had some project, big project delayed before TOB. They send a PMO, they send, engineer that contribute to our gross profit. We need to cut outsourcing. That has done, after 2019, that contributed gross profit. We need some HR, human resource optimization, that contributed in operating income. We need to proceed more big project with NTT Data. That contributed to our sales. That's all done in 2020. We set a midterm goal. at the time of TOB with entity data. Netyear Group designed UX, both company built system together, basically front end with Netyear, back end with entity data integration. And then after we built a system, Netyear improved the marketing operation. That's designed built on the improvement circle we need to achieve with entity data. That actually done in 2020, and we expand more from this year. Midterm goal with entity data is promote a digital transformation in Japan together. Entity data usually deal with IT department, Netyear marketing department. These two departments has to work together. Then we'll promote a digital transformation in Japan together. We have done a very big client in 2020. We expand more. We also want to promote another digital transformation, so-called OMO, online merge offline. We digitize even a store, real store with marketing data. That's we are working on. So entity data really helped us. It also, they think we can contribute. They need to change too. Entity data is a great company to provide implementation, whatever customer said, but they need more UX, they need more IT consulting things. That's Netyear can provide. But real beauty of the entity data TOB is this. As I said, entity data found what good about Netyear, what bad about Goodyear, they need to fix. But besides Netyear's company's issue, one of the director approached to me and asked me, Fujiyo, what's your real problem? I said, I need a successor. I'm looking for a successor, long time, but could not. Also, I'm looking for a COO who can implement my strategy. They are kind enough to send a best person. He's now vice president of Netyear and the CEO of Netyear. He has done all the work for me. And fortunately, well, he could be a candidate of a successor, but he could also, what he has done is to work with a candidate of internal successor. They change. They have a more leadership. Netyear become a really great company, with his help. So this is something we want to achieve with entity data, digital transformation, Japan, and under the pandemic environment of COVID-19. So our target user is mid-30s, female, under the pandemic. She married 3 years ago, working at home. Her husband also works at home, cooks together. She get used to, online, easy, but sometimes, of course, go out for shopping. One day, she's getting a reminder mail from the nearby supermarket. It has a simple lunch menu. She made an order with a supermarket recommendation. When we, sort of make this type of customer journey, customer would understand what they need to make as a system, as well as what they need to change for work. Supermarket making a recipe they have never done, but it's good for UX. They need to change for the work. Also, they need to put on an EC, a recommendation system, personalization system, inventory control. And she, made an order, delivery today. And when, delivery comes, she makes an additional orders. Nowadays, deliverer cannot take an order, but it's better UX to, if they have, order. They deliver what I ordered at the delivery. She also get the reminder mail from her doctor. She confirms the appointment online clinic service. After clinic service, they automatically send the prescription data to the nearby pharmacy and deliver to my home. That is also better UX for her. And sometimes she want to go out. She has a campaign mail from her favorite shopping store, so she decided to go there. Unfortunately, she could not find her favorite color, so she asked to find that inventory in other stores to deliver to my home. That is good user experience. She also do a good shopping with avatar customer service. I like Avatar because real store clerk really push to sell something expensive things that I don't like. Avatar does not do it. Under the Avatar, actually real store clerk from her home work to talk to her. That is a good system. So this is something we can do with entity data. We can do everything, this good user experience design, so we can provide with entity data. So finally, I show you the roadmap with them. The step one, we built a business foundation we have done with them. We refine the current business. Then now we are doing the step two, more growth. We put up a new business. SMC business, new business, more standardized, shift to more capital intensive. We are very much labor intensive work. We need to shift to capital intensive business. The step three, maybe 5 years later, we want to have a more value proposition to society, service to society for DX and CX. We are going to, small business, medium-sized market expansion. We're going to provide us, as SaaS service. That's a roadmap with them. So what I want to say is, even after IPO, we can grow. Even after M&A, after IPO, we can grow. Consolidation is sometimes necessary, complement, our strategy and with their technology. So we are doing pretty well. Thank you so much for listening.
Fujiyo, thank you very much for those great comments. There are so many directions that I want to go with our conversation this afternoon. So many things I want to ask you.
Thank you.
I think I'll just start first with how you feel, because, okay, when you graduated from Stanford, you wanted to be an entrepreneur. Do you think you were? Were you successful in being an entrepreneur?
Well, probably the outside, so I'm a female, or in Japan, not so many people are doing this. In this sense, I'm successful. But for me personally, we are still a small company. I'm not satisfied with my achievement. So, both things, I do feel that.
I have to say, I think your answer is exactly what an entrepreneur would answer. So I think you are. So everyone, just as a way of moving forward, if you have a question, please type it in the chat box and I'll be happy to share it with Fujiyo as we're going along. And then after the formal session is over, we'll stay online for a few more minutes and have a more informal conversation with the recording turned off. So I think that it's fascinating to see that Netyear Group is really in this digital marketing and digital advertising space, because digital marketing here has really changed tremendously over just the last few years, especially with the advent of big data analytics and artificial intelligence analysis. How have things been changing in Japan? Do you think it's way behind the US? What's your perception?
I mean, the way to do digital marketing is the same, but still Japan is always slow customer do not understand, what real mean is, real meaning of a UX. Customer, put a lot of DMP.
UX being user experience.
Yeah, user experience.
Right.
So well in US, big corporation CEO always tell the customer, we provide the best user experience design. But however, no one said in Japan, top management, they know the terminology, but they do not use it. They do not understand the real meaning of that. So also we have done a lot of DMP, data management platform that's analyze all kind of data. But however, the way to make the DMP, any marketer cannot use it because IT department, made the DMP. That's a marketer cannot use. These work. Both the work together can have not done yet in Japan. I mean, as you said, Japan start understanding. However, it's much slow compared to US. We are
so are you looking at the US as an innovator to copy, or how do you see this developing? Will you have to do things very differently in Japan?
I think in the area of digital marketing, we just copy it. Sometimes, so in the past, system integrator, they made a pretty unique way of, development. For example, they create a private cloud. That was not a cloud at all.
Right.
So
right.
I think, so they intentionally, make them slow to development. But I think copying is a pretty good way to do.
Well, at least it reduces risk.
Yeah, and once they set the goal, once they understand the definition, Japan is very fast. It's kind of a transition stage, for Japan to start to understand.
Yeah. So I have more questions, but there's a couple coming in from the audience. First, from Adriana, we have a question. Could you talk about the corporate workplace culture in Japan, especially for women? What's it like now? Is it changing, or there's still big companies are saying only apply if you're a man?
that was changed.
Okay, so at least that's changed. But what about the kind of workplace culture? What about work-life balance and those kinds of things that people are concerned about here?
Actually, we are working on, even a big corporation, so they are working on to promote female, and government set the goal, not explicit goal. Government set the goal, I don't remember, by 2025 or something, so all the corporation, public company needed to have, 30% of a female director, including outside of director. We set a goal, we try to promote, much more than before, but, the situation is still very behind, compared to US or China. So that is the current situation. But, these topics are pretty big and a topic, especially, Japan has a problem of, decreasing the population, aging society. So the population, decrease of population itself is not, I think, a big issue. Bigger issue is, decreasing the labor force. So putting a woman to a labor market is an easy way to do. So, a lot of reasons, we're making an effort.
So as the working population shrinks, do you think that increases the need for women to move more into the workforce?
Yes.
Are you seeing more double income households?
Both. So the government goal is to put more female labor to labor market, to increase so the, labor, number of the labor force. So that helps
So,
household income to, yes.
yeah, let me ask a kind of follow-up question for you. As a company CEO and a company director, do you have trouble getting people to take your opinion seriously?
For me, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing, no problem.
Okay, good. So, this is something else you've maybe learned from Stanford is how not to be forced to take a back seat.
Right. I would say, so I have not a hard time. Anything, to be a top management, for startup, people even outside of the company like VC, they really respect me. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm not so sensitive, but people really respect me. That so I don't know. So it's just you know, no gender problem. Once want to talk, in a rational way, to convince, communicate with communication skill, female has no problem.
Well, and you earned your wings. I mean, it was interesting to see that you did the positions with, Swarovski, Japan, and Brother Industries, and really showed that you could build up the sales side. Then doing the specialty consulting, where people are bringing you in because you're an expert. Uh, when you decided to do the MBO, the management buyout of Netyear Group, that was an American company. Did you always plan to take it back to Japan?
Actually, I was not the one to, to want to transfer the company to Japan. All the other people,
Okay.
like my, my colleague at the time, co-CEO, he want to transfer the headquarters to Japan because that's actually a good way to understand. But I just want to stay in US personally, but all the people, but they found an opportunity in Japan because, as you said, so Japan is always slow, but internet
Yeah.
things was always slow. We had a good practice in US. We can bring the good practice to, behind market, market behind. So then we could have a good position. That was one of the reasons that, so Netyear, become really successful in the web marketing industry.
So I'm, remembering your slides, Dentsu was one of the investors in the original Netyear Group in the US,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So it's interesting because, they are one of the biggest media companies in Japan. They are the biggest media company in Japan.
Yeah.
So by bringing Netyear Group back to Japan, in a sense, they allowed a competitor to come in, or a potential competitor to come in.
That's right. But at that time, Dentsu did not want to pursue an internet business at the time. That's why, so Netyear spin-off, because we want to enjoy the totally internet, strategic consulting things, under the umbrella of Dentsu, so we need to do a lot of things, but we just want to focus to internet. So that's why, the Dentsu did not want to have it at that time. I mean, Japanese companies are slow, and finally they understand.
So they didn't see a
the
big market. They just saw a little market at the time. Yeah.
Absolutely true. Yes.
So that previous question kind of takes Kyoko's question a little bit, why you started your corporation in the US and not in Japan. Um, was it a really hard decision to go back to Japan when they decided to move the headquarters there?
Actually, so I was asked only 1 year first.
1 year contract.
1 year contract.
Okay.
Fujiyo,
Okay.
can you do so can you do so CEO president work in Japan only 1 year? And I said yes, but so many things happen during that year. I could not leave Japan. The reason why I did not want to move to Japan was, my son, went to a good school in US. I don't want
Yeah.
to change his education.
Yeah.
That,
Okay.
that's personal
Sure.
reason.
So we've got several more questions about kind of women working in Japan. But if you don't mind, I want to make a point that one reason I'm so happy you could speak for us this year is because I think a lot of people, when they think of entrepreneurship, they think of starting a company. And then they don't think about what happens as the company life takes on a life where you, to the point that you worry about a successor, right? What do you do when you are successful? And I think that the kind of leadership you learn through entrepreneurship that has to be continued. You know, in Japan, it's not really very common at all to encourage a takeover bid, right? A buyout. That's just not not done. It's kind of looked at as somebody has lost their independence or whatever. It must have been a very difficult decision to look and see that this was the best way forward. Did you worry about social pressure at the time about whether people would think that you had failed as an entrepreneur or as a
No,
company president?
no, actually, we had a little hard time in terms of performance, but
Hmm.
actually we are already ready to fix it by ourselves. But
Uh-huh.
as I discuss, industry is not, whole the industry of digital marketing. So many players, that's not good for customer. So many players that for good for players. Everyone was
Yeah.
not really happy. We need to fix the real problem, big problem. Even before TOB, I've been considering, even 10 years before TOB, I felt we
Hmm.
needed to be consolidate somehow. And there's, so many ways to consolidate, you know, vertical integration, like this, entity data,
Yeah.
Netyear's
Right.
consolidation is a vertical integration. However, I also kind of approach to ask, other competitor, how about, we go together to put in a new company,
Hmm.
the horizontal,
Right. To go with somebody
integration.
in the
Yeah,
same line already. Yeah.
I've been considering many ways. Always I do have a pressure. However, that was not problem. The problem is to make the service better, to make the company better, to make the, good service to a customer. This is the answer
Yeah.
for, market requirement. This is the answer for customers' requirement. That's I
Yeah.
felt. I've been
Okay.
doing, I've been talking to a lot of company, what to do, but no one
Okay.
was not really serious. They
Okay.
just want to be independent. I just want to be a top management. No one really agree horizontal integration because they want to be just top. But I think that
So
the
in that regard, I think NTT Data was an interesting choice you made because they have a track record of acquiring rather large companies here in the US as well as in Japan.
that's right. Yes,
And so
they've been
post-merger
having,
integration may have been easier with them as the other side of the table.
That's right. That's right. They've been, so they've been growing by acquiring, a lot of system integrator or design company in Europe and as well as the US too. And actually, they are pretty successful.
Yeah.
So they have a good track record. And
Okay.
also, we need really, technical the help to expand our business. So actually, I talked to them 10 years ago, even 10 years ago. But at that time, they are not serious.
I see. But things had moved along, and so it
Yeah,
was the timing.
yeah.
Fujiyo, I'm going to suggest that you stop sharing your slides. We're not getting questions back on individual slides right now. So let's open it up to gallery view.
Okay.
And Kyoko has asked another question about how especially the IPO and the TOB affected employees, especially their feelings. Was it difficult to sell to the people in the company?
We have not sold. I mean, we,
No, I mean selling the idea to people in the company to
oh,
get people to behind
that
it.
was a totally secret, matter up until the TOB. We cannot really
Yeah,
announce even internally. It's just a
yeah,
small group of the, people, know that because we needed to do a, due diligence.
yeah.
So, I'm sure people are so surprised, but um, that was not really. I don't know. I'm not them. So,
Yeah,
um,
okay.
but um, I think the leaders, um, maybe so the team leaders, division leaders, kind of having same feeling. So we need more technology. We need some in PMO. They do not think success or CEO matter, but uh, but also working with a big corporation, having so better customer, a big customer, doing a good project. Actually, at the time of a TOB, right after the TOB, I worried, but no, well, just few people left the company, but most stays, and I do think they now they pretty sure they are happy than before, and they
Uh-huh.
understand we are doing the right things.
So that also is a tribute to your leadership, because I
That's
think that
yes,
this is something that has to be considered and made to work.
yeah.
Way back near the beginning of our Q&A session, Mari had asked about digital marketing in Japan. And
Mhm.
you and I had had this conversation where I kind of pushed you to say that it is possible to copy a lot of techniques that are being used in the US. But I'm curious what's distinctive about digital marketing in Japan. What do you have to tailor for the market there?
What do we
What do you have to tailor for doing digital marketing in Japan to curate it specifically to Japanese preferences, as opposed to how people do marketing here? What would you say in this new digital world is very different, if there is much?
the first of all, the Japan is behind even as a marketing. So Japan is
Yeah,
very. It was quite amazing when I went back to Japan. After probably 10 years, life. I have never go back to Japan at the time. 10 years after I left Japan, I come back to Japan and talk to a lot of companies. So the
yeah.
one guy, one company, a very good company, introduced me. Fujiyo, I want to introduce a really great company, really great person. So that he can sell ice in Alaska. Do you understand what it means?
Yeah.
And I told them, I don't want to see, the person who can sell, ice in Alaska. I just want to see someone providing, kotatsu or, air conditioning. And, that is not the marketing. As, this episode showed that Japan is very behind for marketing. Japan is, I felt that, good company in Japan having a good sales force, strong sales force. Well, I do not deny strong sales force, but marketing is something to put in some system. Without sales, we can sell the product service well. That is a marketing. This kind of a concept. Japan is still behind. So
I do think a lot of the new kind of relationships that companies have with customers now, where there's more customization of product,
Yeah.
where really people are worried about intrusiveness of marketing, getting all of their data and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
That must be very difficult for a marketing company to navigate.
You're absolutely right. But I just hope digitization would help them to understand, because data shows a reality. Japanese people are pretty good at, so they're using the data, putting, having numbers, they would understand the reality. So just understanding the, digital marketing may help Japanese customer, our client, to understand what the marketing is. This is just my wish, but my hope. But actually, with the so time of digital marketing, Japan could move to a more marketing society.
Okay. And indeed, it may. There are some things in Japan that are actually leading the US in regard to some kinds of
Understand?
maybe
Yeah.
digital payments or whatever, right?
That's right. That's right. Actually, so NTT Data has biggest payment system in Japan. Once someone use a credit card, they can get some margin.
Yeah.
That would help. That help.
NTT
Yeah.
is getting
Yeah.
margin
NTT
from
Data
each
has a
transaction.
yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
actually expanding the system to Asian countries.
Yeah. Have a couple of more questions about women in the workforce in Japan. These are from Prakash. One has to do with the availability of childcare.
Oh.
And I know that that was cited by former Prime Minister Abe back when he was Prime Minister as something that Japan was really going to work hard to solve.
Yes. Exactly.
How's that going? How is child increasing or
Increasing.
is this lagging?
They try to increase. Actually, the reason why one of the the reason I left Japan, finally so I went to Stanford. The reason why I decided to leave Japan is my personal reason. There was not a child care center to take care of my son. He was 0 years old. So when I joined Stanford, he was 2 years old. There was no daycare center to satisfy my need. And,
in Japan.
In Japan, they provide daycare center up until 6 p.m. That is same as US, but no one really help. I cannot pick up my son at the 6. Because so Japan has a long long labor days, and I was a manager. I could not leave the company, but I was so happy to come to US. I found the system is same. 6 up until 6 p.m. They cannot extend the time, but however, everyone was happy to send me to pick up my son. That was kind of a culture, especially, I don't know, other area, but in Silicon Valley, so, even a big corporation, board of director, they found, oh, Fujiyo, I'm sorry, you have a son, you need to go. I was so happy. So this type of, so the culture, the society help, Japan is kind of lacking, it's been missing. So without family help, it's hard. Only the reason of only the not only because of the number of the child care center, but because the elementary school finish early time. They sent inside the ground, they sent child care center. That is a system in US, but this type of system is not really set in Japan. So, kids, kids, go to, so the elementary school by train by themselves. So, these society help as well as the government help is not enough yet.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me to see 1st and 2nd graders, 6 and 7-year-olds completely by themselves
Yeah,
on commuter
yeah,
trains in Japan
yeah,
going,
yeah,
30 or 40 minutes.
yeah, yeah. But actually, that's
Um,
a kind of beauty in Japan. Japan is safe.
yeah.
Yep, yep.
So what's happened with COVID-19?
Hmm.
So here in the US, a lot of people had to start working from home. And one of the factors not only was the shutdown for the disease, but the schools closed. The kids had to
Right,
study from home.
right.
So, I think there's a lot of families where parents basically didn't really have a lot of choice but work from home.
Yes, yes.
Uh, what what was the situation with this in Japan? What's happened this past year?
When the COVID-19 things started, the government made a big decision to shut down the school, as well as emergency. There's some announcement, emergency things to ask the all the corporation to so ask the employee work at home. You know we are pretty obedient, and we have done that. Yes, that's a Japanese culture. So, because it was not a mandate, but so people stay home, and actually, so as an IT company, it was easier to do.
Hmm. Yeah.
Our labor force, including myself, 90% of employee now works at home, but the situation has been relaxed. Then especially I don't know, I would just say a big corporation or something. It's not the IT, needed to go to company.
Hmm.
They started move on to working at an office. So it's kind of
Uh-huh.
I don't know 50-50 I would say, but. Especially like us and also entity data IT company probably stay even after the COVID-19. We found
Hmm.
it is actually more productive at home. So at least my company Netyear, we made a decision even after pandemic end. We do change the work style, work at home.
Uh-huh.
So actually, it's good. The COVID-19 things may promote some the productivity, digital transformation things, because we have so many papers. We have a stupid stamp system, so that needed to be fixed. So that's now we are working on. I'm not, so recently I'm doing a lot of presentation for, digital transformation in Japan.
Yeah.
I would define, because, Japanese people do not really good at, understanding the, so definition of the, I don't know, kind of,
DX, digital transformation. Yeah.
well, define something is not a good at. Do you understand it? So
I do understand. It's a great term. Everybody can use the word digital
yeah,
transformation,
it's a
but
buzzword.
what it
Buzzword. They do not
translates
really
into
understand.
in
That's why.
real life is not clear. Yeah.
That's why I'm making a speech to define what the digital transformation is. I told them there's two types of DX. One is more protection, cost cut. That is
Yeah.
productivity and a paperless and a no stamp. And the other was more, aggressive DX. That is changing the business model, putting a more digital, touch point and a digital marketing. That is a more
Hmm.
aggressive type of DX that company need to do. So now then, they understand what to do. So once they understand, Japan is pretty fast to promote this. That I hope
Hmm.
to help Japanese society to more digitize. So I would say, COVID-19 may help to, change our work style as well as our business model, changing our business model.
Okay. How do you see the kind of evolution of entrepreneurship in Japan? there's still a relatively small percentage of the population who are actively engaged in starting new companies.
Mhm.
There's a lot of education programs about
Yeah.
entrepreneurship in
Yes.
most of the universities now.
Mhm.
Um, what will cause more young people to really take the risk?
Um, I think the number of the startup is increasing, and also the people's mindset has been changed. Like Tokyo University, I would say Western University, by definition in Japan, they have venture capital.
Hmm.
Focusing on Tokyo University
Right.
startup. Even the regulation has been changed for university. Now, the university national university become, kind of the corporation, things they needed to, survive by themselves, not having, subsidized from government. So they are changing. And also professor could, take another type of, I don't know the detail, but they could be a board of director, like as a Stanford professor is a director of, the
Hmm.
IT company.
Right.
They can do it. That it helps. One of the,
Yeah,
I
that's new. That's
yeah,
relatively new.
Matsuo Sensei was a director of, Parkshire, IT, AI startup. They went to IPO. These
Hmm.
things are happening. So that's why, people's mindsets has been changing, and more VC. The size of the investment it become, larger and larger. But still, compared to a US, it's much much smaller. I would just say, 40 times, as much, US is 40 times as much as Japan. But,
Yeah.
Japan is changing, definitely changing. More,
Hmm.
people coming to a startup industry, more coming, to be a founder to startup. A lot
Hmm.
of technology help, AI and, the blockchain and IoT, they're, working on. So I would say, changing. Also the market cap of the startup, Mercari has pretty big,
Yeah.
8 billion US dollar market
Yeah.
cap.
Hmm.
Some of them are 20 or 30 market cap. So
Yeah.
the startup become
Is
pretty
growing
yeah,
bigger
very,
too.
very,
Yeah.
very big. A startup could succeed in terms of numbers,
Hmm.
market cap, or at that time of IPO, fundraising things of IPO become large. So I would say it's again slower, smaller, but we are definitely, I observe a change.
Yeah. Okay. And I want to pause and say thank you very much for being on the Innovation Advisory Council for the Japan U.S. Innovation Awards.
My pleasure.
Because selecting really
Yeah,
interesting startups in Japan feature here in Silicon Valley is easier than it used to be because they're really more interesting companies.
I see.
Um, one of the changes, and this is kind of questions by Prakash, are more women becoming CEOs now? What's the kind of ratio like at this point? At first of all, in the workforce, in the management track, and also kind of up at the top.
Um, Very few.
Yeah.
Um, 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 I got some statistics. So the number of the female CEO of all companies in Japan, all business in Japan, that include small business. That include
Right.
so sole proprietary sole the foundation. Only
Yeah.
one
One
see
employee.
one
You.
employee,
Yeah. Right.
including the so this company,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
females number of the female CEO ratio of a female CEO is, I would say, 15%.
Okay. And if you took away the single proprietor companies like
Uh,
that,
that's
it
I
would
don't
be even
I
lower, probably.
Yeah, lower. That's definitely lower. And also, if you look at the public company, the CEO ratio is, female CEO ratio is, I think less than 1%.
Yeah. Okay.
1%.
So the U.S. is still very low too.
I know. Yeah.
Um,
But I'm pretty sure we are lower.
so the Japan government policy is to have 30% of women on boards of directors.
Director,
30% of boards of directors be women.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to do that? do you see how this is going to happen?
I think one is having outside of board of director is much easier.
Increase the number of outside directors.
Yeah, yeah, and the female now a female, these representatives are so popular. And the other way is, of course, promote from inside. And it's not, not a big number to have, someone from outside. That's not a good at for a Japanese company. It's a Japanese company kind of human resource integration is, hard. It's not as simple, so US integration is kind of, so plus and 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 2, that's it. But Japan has a more complex, culture and a problem, rule is very, stick hard in big corporation. NTT has actually but they try to, so the workers, the other independent company could help. But it's hard.
So do you think there's anything specific that companies in Japan need to do in order to open up more?
Yeah.
Any ideas about how this culture can be? Yeah. What would you like to see?
I don't know. I think I'm having I experience even with the NTT data, we have a different culture, but knowing that we are different, respect each other, treat as of course as a public company, treat so the respect our decision, working together. So in this sense, NTT data really understand, once I speak up, they said, Fujiyo, you're right. Okay, we go for your decision. These things happen quite often, not all the time, but also I remember in KDDI, the second biggest carrier in Japan, the acquired, big, I think, data analysis company. They are. I was hearing the speech. They are pretty happy because and KDDI really respect the so the kind of big startup. So this type of top management understand how we work together. If they understand that, also big company needed to change. So I think the pressure for them to need to change is good for them to work with a startup. And also government promote kind of integration, not capital integration, but working together, because only big corporation cannot start up a new business, and kind of the service concept is harder for big corporation to change. So so what they have, who has it is startup. Also big corporation has money. In Japan, venture capital investment is not enough. Then who has the money, and that's a big corporation. So working together, government kind of promote, big corporation and a startup work together in many ways. So I think that will help.
Okay, I'm kind of jumping. I have a sort of a half technical question and half just sort of what's daily life question. Okay. So NTT Data bought 61% of the stock in Netyear Group. Was it about that much to start with, or was it even a higher percentage?
So actually, the target of TOB was 66.6%, 2/3 of a company. But
Okay.
because they put in a 100% premium, we had every
Uh-huh.
day stop and stop and stop. Stock price is going up.
Right.
Up until the regulation
Yeah.
upper things, and then finally prices started coming down before IPO. We are feeling what's happening, and actually not so many shareholders actually participated to TOB. And
So they
no
just held the
reason.
stock because now it's more valuable.
I think so that's the only reason the shareholders expect, and once they keep the stock, maybe takes 1 year, 2 years, stock price may go up, because we keep the status as a public company. Netyear's stock price is going up more than TOB price that they expect, but it seems has not happening yet, but it will.
Okay. So we do
Well,
have
but end up
situations like this.
actually end up
Go ahead.
with only 48% they own.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Um, but still more than anybody else has.
Yes, and we are consolidated.
Okay.
Our sales and the profit is consolidated to our
Hmm.
entity data's
I see.
PL.
So, okay. Okay. Um, so we have situations like this where, VMware is owned largely by EMC and that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing in the US.
Mm-hmm.
But how does your decision making proceed if you're the president of a publicly traded company and yet you have someone with more or less controlling interest in your company?
Mm-hmm.
You're consolidated under NTT data.
Yeah.
Um, how how do you do the decision making? Is it completely independent, but you coordinate in kind of regular reports, or do you call in people from NTT data to before you make a decision? What happens?
Well, well, we have a board of director from NTT data.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah,
So they
about
have the majority of
half
the
of
board.
not a majority. I think half and half, I guess.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
But as a publicly traded company, we need to, first we need to, take care of shareholders, not the big shareholders, small shareholders. So
Yeah.
then the, decision making has to be independent. That's for
Okay.
sure. But
Okay.
actually,
Yeah.
we have a, half, so the half people are from NT data. So, well, technically
But
speaking,
also this reflects their kind of skill at doing acquisition, because I think that if they didn't give sufficient independence to you, they would have killed the reason for
yeah.
investing in you.
That's really your technical and a sensitive issue you touched.
Sure, but
Mhm.
it is, one of those things where I think that as big companies look for partnering with smaller
Mhm.
companies,
Mhm.
not killing the good thing that they hope to acquire
Right.
is not always easy. Big
Um,
companies tend.
I mean, the reason why entity data, take over Netyear is not the, completely take over our company. They, I'm not them, but, during the conversation, I'm pretty sure, they respect our brand. Netyear, if Netyear become, wholly, owned to
Yeah,
entity data, Netyear become so, I mean, not, so the
it
cannot keep
loses value.
good, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that's why, so they need to, they respect our brand, and,
Hmm.
they like what we are doing. We are not in the same position. completely different. Whole industry of system development, we are in the same.
Right.
But what they do, what they do in terms of technology, what they do, something like consulting, capability, what we have is completely different.
Right.
In this respect, we need to be, we need to be, half independent. We need to be more integrated half. So, for technical reason, for, stock kind of reason is same things. Whenever we making a decision, a big decision, we have a set a goal. We set a goal.
Yeah.
For this type of level of decision, who should make it, because we're a public company. We set the rule. The shareholders meeting. So this type of so things shareholders meeting is necessary. Majority of shareholders and the board of director and the CEO and under. Then of course, I talked to entity. I want to make a decision for this. All the decision I made up until so far, entity data did not oppose. They said, oh, that's right. You're right. And I always talk. Sometimes I talk to them. Well, you need to change, right? Why don't you use us to change your company? We are a small company, but still we are doing completely different things. So using us to change the company, maybe hiring a great person to Netyear and working together. This discussion, I always having a discussion with them, the periodical. So that would help to my decision as well as their decision.
Okay. There are other questions that are really good questions. I think we should call into the formal part of the program, though, and ask these questions in a more informal context, okay, where we will not be on record, not be recorded. So thanks so much for a great presentation today. It's really rare to hear someone in a position like yours,
Thank you.
CEO of a public company, to be willing to speak openly, frankly, about how these kinds of things happen and your own journey. Fujiyo, thank you so much. This is a great presentation.
Thank you so much, Richard.